As a kid, I always wanted to be a wrestler. I remember running into the clothesline in the yard and understanding a little too well the devastation of a well-executed clothesline. Moving forward, I would always Coco be wary and run with my head up. I played tag team long before Whoop There It Is. I was a one-man Legion of Doom and I created demolition. The power of my pain made me a warlord of earthquakes and a barbarian of typhoons. I was a rocker at my heart's foundation, a real killer bee. I cut promos for no one until I got all sweaty and ready to kick life through a plate glass window like it was Marty fucking Jannetty. And I knew it was all fake. It didn't take a leaping Lanny Poffo to figure that out. I just love the pageantry, the intensity, and pardon me if when they call me to the stage I parade down the aisle and pander to the crowd a bit. I'm living out a childhood dream. A Canadian dream that's walked a few dusty roads, suffered through some Bam Bam Bigelows, but I'll never let go of this figure 4 lip lock. I'll never tap out. You'll never pin me for 1, 2, 3, kid. I am the ultimate poetry warrior. I do what I do with Ric Flair until the crowd hollers Dino, bravo! I got an Andre-sized ego because I am a Big John stud, larger than life. I live for the big show. Tiny chip on my shoulder? Could be. I call that a mystery, yo. I am a Randy Savage. I keep my iron mic sharp and use my Barry Horowitz like diesel fuel at Mania 11 to dodge heartbreak, kid. I'll take on all of mankind. Dude love doesn't even scare me, and that's a fact, but I can be kinda prickly like a fucking cactus, Jack. I am the king of this gnarly race, and I've got a special delivery Jones to rock microphones and shout my poems from top ropes until slam stages become squared circles and people pay per view. I'll make every piece a main event for the ages, take everyone in my way to the woodshed, beat them like a government mule, and by God, I'll break you in half. It's funny. All these years later and I'm still cutting promos, but at least now I have an audience. And I get to walk down the aisle, and maybe if I'm lucky, I'll get to stomp a mud hole in someone's ass and walk it dry, and that's the bottom line because P.O. Easy said so, and if not, then maybe I'll just smash somebody with a folding chair. Ladies and gentlemen, as I teased last week, I would have a special guest, and not only a special guest, the inaugural guest to the Plodcast. There have been no other guests. There might have been a character appearance by one Judd Johnstone, who recently came in third at a local poetry slam. I'll save that story for another time. It's bizarre. But anyways, I'm here with wrestling guru 12K Thou.
What is going on, Mr. Brown? It is an honor to be the inaugural guest.
Yeah, you might have to come in.
Oh,
come closer.
I gotta come closer
there we go,
to this thing?
Yeah.
Mr. Brown, let me just say it is an honor and a privilege to be the inaugural guest on the Plodcast, live on tape, on the Brown Cloud, on this stormy night. I'm gonna say a big hello to my wife, the lovely Lady Wartooth, back at Castle Thou. Don't you worry, Daddy's coming home soon.
This man's already cutting promos.
That's right.
Already. It is true. There's some kind of a storm going on outside. We're in the living room by the patio door, hunkered down, locked in from the storm. So you might hear that. Maybe it'll create atmosphere. So anyways, so far we've discussed nothing of wrestling. WrestleMania is upon us. It's happening Sunday, April 3rd. I don't know when this will get released, so I don't want to say like in 2 days.
If you are listening to this before Sunday, April 3rd, it is live on the WWE Network. Call your provider for details. Only $9.99 a month. Vince, I'm waiting for my check.
Company man.
That's it. I'm a shill.
Just a shill.
Just a fucking shill.
So over the next little bit, we're going to talk about WrestleMania. We're going to talk in depth about WrestleMania.
Yes.
We're going to talk about poetry in promos, in wrestling promos. We're going to talk about our favorites. Maybe we'll hear an example of a promo. Then we're going to talk about the matches. We're going to run down the card. I have written a haiku for each match. We're going to lay it out.
I gotta say, I was not expecting that at all. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been privy to the written material that's been prepared for this podcast. This man has come to play the freaking game today. You're in for a real treat. It's haiku mania here on the Plodcast.
It will be Haiku Mania.
Fuck right.
There's not enough wrestling poetry crossover.
Yeah.
There is some, but it's minuscule.
I think it might be me and you.
Yeah, and Lip Balm has a wrestling piece.
Okay, yeah, Lip Balm.
There's a couple floating around, but nowhere near enough.
Big shout out to Lip Balm. I'm a big fan of that guy's work.
We flip what?
That's right.
Tables. So yeah, where should we start? Do you want to start with the poetry, the promo? Do you want to run the matches down?
This is your podcast, man. It's your podcast, your fucking rules. You tell me. I'm your Huckleberry. What you got?
Let's talk about poetry in promos.
All right.
When I was a kid, nothing was cooler to me than seeing the Ultimate Warrior on probably the green screen with the universe in behind him, and he's talking about his little warriors, and he's talking about rising up into the skies
and the heavens above, chewing him out to spit him to the earth below, where he rose from the ashes to defeat Hulkamania, raise the continent over his head and shatter it to 1,000 pieces. I'm paraphrasing, but yeah.
And the snorting. And then he would come out down to the ring, and he couldn't do a move. He couldn't, there was no technical skills. He had none of that. He was a terrible wrestler. I've watched all the documentaries and heard all the stories and everything. And
I just want to jump in here, folks. This is the POE's favorite wrestler of all time. He is talking about. So know that with a heavy heart, he is saying this, but it doesn't make it untrue. Please continue your dissertation, sir.
It's so true. But the fact of the matter was that he was my favorite. And the only thing I can attribute it to, well, two things. The intensity, obviously. This guy hits the aisle at 1,000 miles an hour.
Quite literally, yes.
Runs to the ring, does the whole thing with the ropes.
Bobby Heenan's neck is all the worse for it. I'll tell you that. That's a shoot.
So the promos, it had to be the promos, and I didn't really understand, but it was just cool. Macho Man, he cut a good promo, God. But I wasn't really into what he was saying. When Jake the Snake talked about the sword of Damocles dangling over the heads of his opponents, I was like, that is, and as a kid, I don't really know what that means. But then finding out later, Googling the sword of Damocles, and, going back to being a kid and hearing Jake the Snake talk about it, and it was badass because he had a snake as well.
I feel like Savage and Snake, well, they were just both great characters. They're two sides of the coin where if you're a little kid and you're not quite sure what's going on, the stuff's going to go over your head. Yeah. But you know that Macho Man Randy Savage is a wild man, and he's got personality for days. And you know Jake the Snake is a methodical, diabolical son of a bitch. And it showed. They could have a 30-second promo and you know exactly who they are and what they're about. And there is a poetry to it. The real art of the promo doesn't come from your modern scripted, here, take this and go out and say that. Is where, well, I've got a message as the promoter that needs to be gotten across to the audience. So you, Randy Savage, who are an excellent speaker, you are going to talk us an ass every 18 seats. And the top stars have all been able to do that. The art that we're losing nowadays, because of the way WWE produces their content, because they're a TV show more than a wrestling show. And I'm speaking about the art of professional wrestling in general, ladies and gentlemen, which isn't just a mishmash of moves and a bunch of face-painted ruffians spewing shit at each other. There is, by God, an art to it. And it is not easy. You got to have the gift of gab. You got to be a tough man. You got to know what you're doing, because you can't manipulate a limb and have it look like shit. Otherwise, no one's buying what you're selling. But talking the people into the building, there is a great art form to that. And every guy has their own little... I like to think of them as bullets. What's this crowd want? What do we got loaded up in the gun today? What are we going to spray all over the crowd today to make them come back for more? Just lick it right up.
Who's the best? Who's the best at it, in your opinion? Not your favorite. Who's the best at putting asses in the seats?
Well, let's talk about different eras. Mm-hmm. Right now, as it is, I think it would probably, just on promo ability alone, I'm going to have to give it, unfortunately, to Triple H. And I'll tell you why. I do not watch, ladies and gentlemen, the opening 20-minute monologue of the McMahon family drama. I want to see the story told in the ring, and I want to see my guys that I appreciate. I don't need to watch it because it's the same thing every week. That said, the asses are in the seats because this same thing every week is getting the asses in the seats because you want to see him shut up. You want to see him get put down.
Yeah.
And Hunter he's had the opportunity to be in a good spot to do it, but no one's done it more effectively over the last 15 years. I mean, people could rightfully argue John Cena, but he's very inspirational, and those words just keep the kids coming back for more. You had your guys like Hogan. Hogan could talk you into the building with his intensity. Same with the Warrior. But probably for the 80s, in the WWF, the three best were definitely Roddy Piper, Jake the Snake Roberts, Macho Man Randy Savage, in my opinion. Lots of great talent, but those are the guys that, in my opinion, just had it down to a science, especially with the benefit of history. They were just absolutely outstanding talents in the ring, out of the ring, on the mic, on the commentary. In the 90s, we got to go with Steve Austin and The Rock, by far. The best goddamn promo. And Vince McMahon, too. Those guys carried the business for a while, but that was also another time. You had Shawn Michaels, and you had Brian Pillman. You had Shane Douglas had some real good stuff in ECW, depending on the market you're in and what you're trying to do. But Steve Austin, as a character, the things he would say, and ladies and gentlemen, if you do have the WWE Network, go back to 1996. I have to do a little research. Look up, if you're a fan, Steve Austin doing commentary on Monday Night Raws. If you can get a hold of someone who has the Blu-ray or maybe find it, look up. He hosted a show called Live Wire. It was like a call-in show. They'd have a wrestler on. And he just acted like a goddamn maniac, but it was so believable. The art of the performance, and to find something within you that you can turn up to 11. I might be a little bit of a psychopath, but I know how to harness that and turn it up to 11. And now, even though Steve is the beer-drinking redneck, he's this violent, masochistic serial killer that doesn't have a problem telling you he'd drop you and your family. And to get that across believably, that's just ridiculously impressive to me. I think CM Punk, when he was allowed to talk, was real good. But actually, you know what? I said Triple H. I take it back. It's Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman is the man.
Yeah, you're right.
Brock Lesnar doesn't need a lot of help. Paul Heyman's promos are fantastic. For who does the most artful and best promos that I'm really entertained by, I'd probably say Bray Wyatt. He's a guy going over a lot of people's heads, but I think he's great.
Bray's my personal favorite. Right now. Since with Cena gone.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things was to watch Cena walk down to the ring to booze, nothing but booze, and know that the crowd hates him, and he's got this weird look on his face like he knows the crowd hates him, but he is so prepared.
It's gotta hurt.
Of course, it would have to sting, but he's ready. And then he'll say something about the local sports team that forces the crowd to cheer. And by the end of him talking for that few minutes, they're cheering for him in spite of themselves. And that's my favorite thing to watch on Raw. And I'm so upset that he's gone. That and the fact that he could have a match with anybody.
Oh, yeah.
And it was always good.
Well, when I'm going to pull the curtain back a little bit if you don't know what's up. If you only give somebody a certain amount of time to perform, and I'm going to lead into something because anyone who's a real wrestling fan knows I've left two very incredibly glaring names off of this promo list. If you only give someone so much time, you get the 5 moves of doom and this and that. Now that they made Cena an attraction, the best part of Raw last year was the 15, 20-minute pay-per-view quality matches with everyone from your Dean Ambrose, Stardust, Wade Barrett, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens. Just great match after great match after great match because they're telling a story, they're telling a conflict. And two guys who anyone should put at the top of their promo list. I could go on with you for hours, but if you don't mention Nature Boy Ric Flair and the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, get funky like a monkey to soliloquy on you, if you will, on the Superstation 605. Ric Flair, Ole Anderson, it will never be over. It will never be over. Greensboro, North Carolina, it will never be over. St. Petersburg, Florida, I'm coming for you, Ole. Those guys whipped people into a goddamn frenzy. Ric Flair was wrestling one of the Russians, which, because if you weren't aware, folks, in the 80s, whatever country your home continent is enemies with. Those are the bad guys sometimes. So Ric Flair's doing a bad guy versus bad guy match, and Dusty Rhodes, being a proud American, comes out. He saves Flair from the Russians, and it looks like they're cool. Dusty's like, hey, see, I came and helped you. I'm being a good guy. Well, Flair's teammates, Arn and Ole Anderson, came in, jumped Dusty. They held him down, and apropos of nothing, Ric Flair gets on the top rope inside a steel cage and drops a knee on Dusty Rhodes' leg twice, breaking it. Now, the difference between today and back then was that no one had been wised up, as they say, and no one was really in on it. If you didn't get to see a lot of stuff south of the Mason-Dixon line, it was presented more like an athletic conflict, far more realistic, and you thought that more often than not it might be a work, but some of that stuff had to be real. There was a riot in the Omni in Atlanta that night. The cages were shaking because hundreds of people were trying to get in there because that's how much they believed in Dusty Rhodes, a fat guy with a lisp, for being, honest here, a fat guy with a lisp, very athletic for the time and for his shape. They felt such a connection with him through his verbiage. He was John Wayne to that territory and to the first major national real wrestling product that predates even the WWF. And they were just fantastic. And Ric Flair could talk such a good game that he was one of the few villains back then that people loved, because he was such a character. But as soon as he turned on the I'm a fucking asshole, I'm better than you, he was this 1%er elitist prick espousing materialism. And look at what I got. Life's hard when you're the world heavyweight champion, making $1 million a year. Woo! Women 18 to 28 lined up out the Marriott on the bottom floor, just itching for a ride on Space Mountain. Barry Windham, Greensboro, North Carolina, you're up next. Chicago, Illinois. Ronnie Garvin, you, my friend, are about to get paintbrushed and slapped silly by the best wrestler in the world. He was such an arrogant prick. I gotta see that guy get his ass kicked, because as a top heel, you get a lot of guys that are, well, this guy is what we call a white meat babyface. People can get behind him because they see some of themselves in him, but he doesn't have any kind of great personality. And Macho Man Randy Savage, he ain't. So when you have a guy like Ric Flair who talks you up and talks himself into such a frenzy that people are like, I don't care who he's wrestling. I don't give a fuck if it's a broom with boxing gloves. I will pay to see that motherfucker get his ass kicked, and that's where you draw money.
And that's what it's about.
That's what it's about.
It's always about rescuing the belt.
Yes.
And keeping it safe from the heels of the world.
The man of the people represents good. He represents all of you. I'll reach out to all of you at home. You just take my hand, put it on the screen, and touch my hand, and together we can achieve the American dream. And that shit worked back then.
And that's how you cut a promo. And today it's no different. I don't think it's the same. At the basics, it's the same. But the trick is keeping the goldfish attention span of the people.
This is part of the problem these days, is you have these long-winded promos. All the greats that I've mentioned didn't really need more than 3 to 5 minutes. No. If that. Sometimes you had, well, you've got 1 minute and 30 seconds, plug these 5 towns, you're wrestling these 3 guys in those 5 towns. And guys could go out there and do it, because back then you were you. Now you come along and they say, well, we want you to be this. You can't do that if it's not within you. You can't just say, I want you to be a ninja. Well, what if that guy's not a ninja? There are guys in wrestling, ladies and gentlemen, that could be ninjas. I shit you not. But you can't make just anyone a ninja. He's got to believe. He's got to be believable. The lack of sincerity in any art form, whether you're an actor, whether you're a poet, especially if you're a musician, definitely when you're any kind of theater performer, anytime you have to emote publicly to get that reaction, your lack of sincerity is going to be your downfall. And if you can't believe who you are, how the fuck is anyone else going to? The art of being able to, off the cuff, talk people into the building is dying. And it sucks.
Yeah. The promo, more important than ever. I think we should move on from the promo.
We should. Very important, ladies and gentlemen. Look up any of the names we have mentioned. Type in words like, I guess, epic is the word these kids use these days. Epic promo, something like that. Yeah. You won't believe the shit they were saying on TBS in 1985. It's ridiculous.
The Rock was horribly offensive in the 2000s.
The Rock was fucking hilarious.
By today's standards, though, some of the shit that he said would never get on TV today.
Well, I don't have a problem saying I'm not politically correct at all, and I would just like to say a hearty fuck you to people that are, because you're fucking it up. What's wrong with you?
But it was neat to see some old Rock footage and him saying some, pretty questionable things. And seeing how, as a populace, we've moved away from that. And how offended I was in myself when I used to cheer The Rock on and yeah, everything The Rock says is the best.
That's because it was hilarious.
It was hilarious.
It was hilarious. He was brilliant. He was a wordsmith. There's a reason the man is making, $20-60 million? More money than all of you listening put together will ever see in your life. He makes for one damn movie because he can cut a promo, ladies and gentlemen.
It's true.
Fucking Laurence Olivier, he ain't. So.
All right. Let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on.
All right. Now we're going to go through WrestleMania match by match. We are going to leave no stone unturned, no matter how terrible or boring it may be. We're going to do it. We're going to go through. I don't know where you rank these matches in order of import.
So far, you got a pretty good list here. I will say, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who watch Total Divas on the pre-show, one thing that will not be gotten to because it is just awful is the obligatory 10 Diva tag team match. Not that I'm against women's wrestling at all, but ladies and gentlemen, 10-person tag team matches are just an excuse to get everybody out there. And quite frankly, the women in that match are fantastic workers. Well, most of them anyway. They're all great performers, though, and they deserve better than what'll probably be a 5-minute match. So no poem for them, no nothing, and shame on you, WWE. That's lazy fucking booking.
Yeah, I didn't even put that match on my list of matches. I do remember wondering who the mystery partner could be and hoping that it's Bayley.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
Is it going to be Bayley?
No, it's going to be Ava Marie, the hated.
But they brought her out. The mystery partner was just for Raw.
Yeah, they didn't know. They didn't have a fifth partner is the thing. Sorry, if you don't watch Monday Night Raw, we're losing you. But ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you this though. Why I'm pissed off about that, and we're gonna get to it in another match later. The female portion of the roster are probably the best performers that there have been in maybe 2 or 3 generations that have gotten a national stage. I want to preface that. WWE's hiring policy for a long time was we'll get models and teach them how to take a bump later, and it didn't work out at all. You can't have 1 wrestler and 9 models. It doesn't work. And these ladies that will perform for you on Monday Night Raw, if they get a little more time, getting time to tell your story is very important. They are just absolutely fantastic, and the future is bright for the in-ring performance section and for women's wrestling in general. Yeah. We're shitting on this match, but I want to make that very clear.
You're right. It's obligatory. You have to give all these people some time.
Yeah,
and that's cool. Hey, put on a show. You know what? You're gonna get your time. So put on a show and make me want to write a haiku about it. But
do you have a prediction for that match? We will give it a prediction. You got Brie Bella, Paige, Natalya, Alicia Fox, and Ava Marie taking on Naomi, Tamina, Emma, Summer Rae, and the debuting Ravishing Russian Lana. Who do you think is going to take this match?
Lana cheats, and they win.
Okay.
That's my call for that.
Because
they're going to try and build Lana now, I think.
I think that they will, but I think that this is going to end up with the Total Divas kind of walking away on Ava Marie. We're not giving you context for this. Deal with it. I think it's the Total Divas walking away from Ava Marie and letting her take the fall. I think that this is probably going to be 10 minutes of entrances and 5 minutes of wrestling. I really hope they get some time, and I really hope that they all get the opportunity to put on a show. Because Paige and Natalya in particular are ridiculously good professional wrestlers.
Yeah. All right. That was way too long for a match.
For that match, that's
not even on the list here.
That section
will be fun.
That section of the Plodcast, I predict, will be longer than the actual match itself on Sunday.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
Okay. Over here.
Yeah, sure. Sounds good. Is your Plodcast your rules?
Yeah,
bud?
We'll build it up to the main event.
And that's how you do a story. That's how you tell the story.
That's right. This one's also pre-show, right? So,
yeah, there's 4 matches on the pre-show, which is exclusively on the WWE Network. So,
Which you can get 1 month for free.
in Canada too?
Oh, maybe not.
Call your provider and see if you can get Mania for free. It's a $60 show. Even if you don't watch wrestling, just demand it for free.
Get the free.
Make them suffer. It's free. What are you waiting for?
All right, so the Dudley Boys versus the Usos. Ladies and gentlemen, a haiku. Dearest Vince McMahon, please don't split up the Dudleys. Hashtag not best for business. I think that I heard from the stupid sites that I go to look up wrestling rumors that they were going to split up the Dudley Boys and try and do Bully Ray, which I never saw.
Well, a lot of people never saw it because I don't know that many people that watch TNA wrestling. Although I will tell you, at the time, he was the best heel on all of television in national wrestling. They're you're seeing a little bit of Bully Ray now, the way he's taunting people.
He's loud.
You know, he's always been loud. He's always been the real mouth of the group.
Okay.
I don't think the plan is to split the Dudleys up. Rather, they need to be there. They need to help establish teams. They need to have another run with the belts.
Yeah,
there's money to be made rescuing the belts from them. In this match, I'm going to say that the Dudleys are going to cheat to win, and then the Usos are going to put them through tables so they get their WrestleMania moment.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think that's likely. All right, what's next? Kalisto versus Ryback. Ladies and gentlemen, a haiku. Remember when the U.S. title stood for something? No. Fuck.
You fucked up. You fucked up. You fucked up. Leave it in.
All right. I tried to cut it. Whatever. We'll do it again.
Cut it later or whatever the fuck.
That's true. I can cut it later. Ladies and gentlemen, a haiku. Remember when the U.S. title stood for something relevant? Kalisto versus Ryback. My prediction for this match is that Ryback tries to cheat and it backfires, and Kalisto wins.
My prediction for this match is that most of the people get up and go to the bathroom. No one really wants to see this match except for Vince McMahon and Ryback. Kalisto is a hell of a performer. He's a great underdog talent. He's a little guy. He's about 5'6". I've had the pleasure of seeing him live in a previous life, as Samurai del Sol. He's truly one of the best luchadors and flyers in the world. I think that Ryback will probably trounce him for most of the match, and then Kalisto will hit an out-of-nowhere comeback. I do think, unfortunately, Ryback will get the belt, but I don't think it's happening now. So I'm saying Kalisto, out of nowhere, come from behind victory.
All right. Cycling through the matches here, we might have a different list.
You can cut through some of this shit too.
That's true.
Do you have Shane and Taker on that list? You don't.
Is that an important one?
That's a fucking hell of a... Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I guess I didn't...
We are doing a blooper reel on this fucking show.
I didn't do one for that.
We are doing a blooper reel. My God.
That's okay. We'll get there.
Well, then I'd say next would be the New Day. And actually, no, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. And I know that you are a big Andre the Giant fan. I definitely... pardon me. I definitely loved Andre as a kid. I mean, what kid wouldn't? He's a big old giant. First wrestling figure I ever bought. You, I know, love Andre the Giant in a way that just a lot of people... Talk to us about Andre the Giant.
Ladies and gentlemen, a haiku. Andre the Giant. Only thing bigger than his body was his heart. I love Andre the Giant. I watched the Larger Than Life documentary on VHS, and I got misty-eyed.
Oh.
It's hard to watch.
You're such a gentle fucking soul.
There's a story of Andre meeting young children, and they were just terrified of him, and he just wanted to spread his love, and the kids were so afraid. And that story always kind of touched me, because I was kind of a big dude growing up, but I was a gentle giant. Like Andre. Plus, he was undefeated like forever.
15 years.
And he used to be able to do a drop kick.
Yeah.
Like pretty agile for a gigantic man.
Ladies and gentlemen, YouTube, Andre the Giant drop kick.
Yeah.
You don't believe us, you'll see a 7'4", 500-pound man with his fingers are probably the size of 3 of a normal man's.
Yeah.
You can find plenty of stuff online just to show you how big he was. But he was a spectacle and an attraction in sports, period, that will never be duplicated.
No. So the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, this is year 3.
This is year 3.
And Cesaro won the first one.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that because the follow-through was not there.
And then Big Show.
First Battle Royal he ever actually won. A guy who was once billed as the son of Andre, who has never lost a Battle Royal, ladies and gentlemen, finally wins one after a 20-plus year career. So in this one, the announced participants are the 4-man crew of the Social Outcasts. I'm not telling you their names. One of them is Mr. Perfect's kid. One of them is Bray Wyatt's little brother. We got Tyler Breeze, Mark Henry, Jack Swagger, Fandango, Damian Sandow, Darren Young, Connor Victor, Goldust, R-Truth, and Kane. And I am picking Kane to win this one because I kind of feel like this is just going to be a thing to get some guys out there and get them the Mania payday. Something for the live crowd mostly. I think we're going to see some NXT guys and maybe a couple of legends show up. But I'm picking Kane to win this Battle Royal.
I'm taking Fandango. Lock it in. Lock it in.
Make book on it.
Fandango hoists the trophy when the dust settles. What's next?
Oh, God. I believe it would be the 4-on-3 handicap match.
Oh, the New Day?
The New Day? That's right.
Speaking of cutting promo.
Yeah, these guys are by far the most entertaining thing.
Best thing in wrestling right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, the hottest merchandise in wrestling right now is a multicolored LED glowing unicorn horn that you strap around your fucking head and a turquoise t-shirt of 3 black men in pink, done cartoon style. I'm trying to contextualize this for people who've never seen it. Done like very happy cartoon style with rainbows and unicorns all over it, sold in a box of cereal called Bootios. They make sure you ain't booty. And they can't keep it on the shelves. These guys are so entertaining. If you see them, and Xavier Woods is brilliant, they're playing a friggin' trombone during their matches. If you haven't seen the New Day, you're missing some great entertainment, and they are also fantastic in-ring performers. Great talent all around. Fantastic performers.
Every base covered, most entertaining thing on the show.
For sure.
My haiku. Sheamus looks stupid. The Legion will fall to the Unicorn Stampede.
I got the New Day winning this by shenanigans.
Yep.
Definitely. I could, depending on where this is on the card, I could see The Rock coming out and maybe interacting because that'd be the 2 most entertaining acts on the show. Interacting. And the New Day have just become full-fledged good guys on the show. And this match, I think, is going to take it home. They got really good talent in the League of Nations. You got Sheamus, Wade Barrett, Alberto Del Rio, and Rusev, all really, really great talent. But Wade Barrett's on his way out of the company, so I think that he's going to take the fall, and then they might kick him the fuck out of the group, either at Mania or on Raw. But I got the New Day winning. Probably another come from behind with Xavier getting the fall.
Yeah, I could see that. I don't doubt that. This or...
Okay, I'm looking at you. Go to that one. Go to that one. Because I'm reading that fucking poem. You're an asshole. That's what I'm going to say here, bud. You're a fucking asshole.
Context for my haiku. I wrote this one before the match between... I thought it was going to be Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, but it turned into the Intercontinental
Ladder match clusterfuck.
Yeah, it's just whoever's left, basically, versus Owens and Sami Zayn.
Human Demolition Derby.
Yeah, but I don't doubt that it'll be fantastic. So some context for this. Sami Zayn hurt his arm pretty bad coming down to the ring. And he was like celebrating, like raising his arm so furiously with excitement that he tore his rotator cuff.
Yeah, he's very, very cartoonish in his methods, but right on the way to the match, he kind of does a rise up thing, and he did it so intensely that he fucked his arm up and missed 8 months. But before leaving, he put on one of the best matches of the year with one arm. And if you can, find John Cena versus Sami Zayn for Monday Night Raw in 2015. It's around the summertime. It's in Montreal, and it's you won't believe that the man is working with one arm. It's incredible.
It was a good match.
So, fuck you for this poem, but yeah, go ahead.
A haiku. Go put on a show, but try not to hurt your arm en route to the ring. Take that, Sami Zayn. But I do like him. He's got the best entrance music right now, I think. I like that he skanks down to the ring. I think that's pretty good. I like his little checkered outfit.
Are you familiar with a wrestler named El Generico from Ring of Honor?
No.
The generic luchador. Once upon a time with Sami Zayn. And him and Kevin Owens were a tag team in the Independents. So now finally at WrestleMania, they are going to be in conflict. But the Intercontinental title is more or less the guys who are real great workers or real big assholes. And The Miz falls into that category. You got Stardust and Cody Rhodes. I mean, if only Cody Rhodes could be as great a star as when you give him absolutely any gimmick. You could put a mop on his head and this guy could make it a home run, which the apple definitely doesn't fall far from the American dream tree, if you will. And
Stardust is definitely one of my favorites. Just because he's a character. A lot of the guys, like it's Dolph Ziggler and John Cena and Seth Rollins. It's names, and I want.
He's a gimmick.
Yeah, I want a character. I want a hero. And he's one of the only guys kind of left that's doing it. And he always has great matches.
Yeah, he's one of the few gimmicks, and that's, I think, a good segue to a plug for PoE, Enter the Gimmick. Still probably available on Amazon, or drop a line in the comments and you can get a hard copy, maybe.
We buried that.
You buried that? Oh, okay. Still selling the shit on Amazon?
Yeah, it's still there. You can
check Amazon.com. Enter the Gimmick. Fantastic work. Fantastic work from my good friend, the PoE.
Royalties.
That's it. I'll be expecting a check. So then we got Dolph Ziggler, Zack Ryder, who is just a guy who has done nothing wrong but just gets shit for his efforts. The guy gets over without help, and he's very popular. I'm glad he's getting a spot. And Sin Cara, which, for those of you not Spanish inclined, means without a face. Masked wrestler. This is going to be Human Demolition Derby. I see Kevin Owens retaining. I'm hoping that he does what I feel like is a banned move in WWE, the package pile driver through a ladder, which would replicate a Ring of Honor spot with Sami Zayn from Final Battle 2012. But I predict that this will be the craziest thing on the show and is going to set the tone for what the Hell in the Cell match is going to have to do. And hopefully no one gets hurt in this match, because this is the match that at WrestleMania, you got 7 guys, and the goal is to climb a ladder and pull something down. And there's a lot of room for error when you got a ladder in a fucking wrestling ring. And we're talking multiple ladders. I guarantee you will watch that match and be jaw dropped after if you've never seen anything of the like.
I agree. I think Owens retains, and I think it's probably going to be the most entertaining match on the whole show.
I'm going to disagree with that respectfully, but I understand why you say that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be sweet. This one?
Yeah.
Jericho versus Styles.
Yeah.
A haiku. Welcome to the show. Now go fight this has-been. I'm already bored. I don't want to see Chris Jericho now. I want to remember Chris Jericho the way Chris Jericho was. I am completely all right with AJ Styles. I wish that they had taken somebody from NXT and given them the storyline with Jericho, because AJ Styles doesn't need the help to get over.
Well,
I feel like they could have done that same story where they tag him up and whatever, and they could have done that with anybody on the NXT roster. Almost
anybody. I don't feel like there's anyone where there's a good spot long term. That'd be a good piece of short term booking, but then what does the guy do after that? So, well, I feel like
whatever AJ Styles is about to do, I feel like they've almost limited him.
I feel like that. I was really, really hoping that Kalisto would be defending his belt in a ladder match, and that we would either get AJ Styles and Kevin Owens in a classic Intercontinental title one-on-one match, or a triple threat, or, well, my preference would have been an elimination fatal 4-way match with Sami Zayn, Dolph Ziggler, AJ Styles, and Kevin Owens. 3 good guys going after the one bad guy. Eventually 2 of those good guys are going to get in each other's face, but that match isn't happening. So what we got is Chris Jericho and AJ Styles. This is going to be the wrestling match of the night. This is going to be where the crowd is the loudest from what the guys are doing in the ring, not just the star power.
Okay.
This is going to be the traditional wrestling match. This is going to be your Ricky Steamboat, Ric Flair. If they don't get more than 15 minutes from bell to bell, that's a fucking crime. If anything, this should be a 20-minute classic, back and forth, epic in the vein of Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. And if you've never seen the phenomenal AJ Styles before, you're missing out. I've had the pleasure many times in person, and he's just a fantastic worker. This is going to be a great match. It's the match I'm looking forward to most on the show for the wrestling.
Fair enough. We watch wrestling for different reasons.
We
talked
do.
about this last week.
We do.
I like the storytelling aspect, and I can appreciate the wrestling. It's not like it's all one-sided that way, but...
Well, the storytelling in the wrestling, not to get off on a tangent here, you are telling a story. What you're doing has to make sense. There has to be conflict from as little as, well, I get the winner's share of the purse, to I don't like you because you beat me, you've got something I want, I fucked your mother, whatever the hell. You need to manufacture conflict at different levels for the different stages of the show. Because the whole thing is one big performance, and then you got to bring it home. What's the most important should be the world title, or a bloodbath feud where, all right, ladies and gentlemen, now in this main event, we are not sanctioning anything. Whatever happens from here on out goes on without our blessing, and it's in whatever God you believe in's hands.
Yeah.
And you have your bloodbath after because, well, that's not wrestling. That's two guys that need to fucking fight. Which brings us to, what do you want to do next?
Two guys that need to fight?
Yeah, I think that was a good accidental segue. Dean Ambrose and Brock Lesnar.
I've since changed my feelings on this, but either way, my haiku still applies. It's Suplex City. Population, Dean Ambrose. F5 star beatdown. And now Ambrose is going to take a beating the likes of which we haven't seen since Mankind and The Rock, I think, in this match. Yeah. And then I think he'll probably win because of Wyatt interference.
Okay, you're jacking my heat here is what you're doing.
That's what I think.
You're jacking my heat. I totally gave you that prediction last week. But I digress. You're a very smart man for taking my advice, P.O. Easy. And I appreciate your candor. Yeah, it just makes sense. The Wyatt family's a pretty important bunch of characters. They aren't on this show. They have unfinished business with Brock Lesnar. I do feel like, but you see they're teasing chainsaw, barbed wire baseball bat, all this shit. WWE is really good at making these action movie matches. They're your last man standings, your street fights. Great examples of this are John Cena and anybody in a last man standing match, but I'll tell you, Umaga from New Year's Revolution 2006, possibly Royal Rumble. They're both in January 2006. Cena rips the top turnbuckle gets ripped off, and he wraps the ring ropes of the top rope around this man's head as he's just gushing blood. And they make Dragon Ball fights and comic book battles out of this live theater, essentially, in these type of matches. This is what we're going to see. This is going to be fucking insane because Dean Ambrose is getting a chance to shine here. And I've seen this guy put himself through barbed wire for pennies. Brock Lesnar is a beast and doesn't really mind if you hit him with a Mack truck. But, yeah. Brock Lesnar's going to kick his ass. There's going to be some crazy shit happen. But the Wyatts are going to interfere. Dean Ambrose is your winner. And off we go.
I think so too. Over to here.
Yeah.
Becky versus Charlotte versus Sasha for the women's title. A haiku. The women's title is up for grabs. Triple threat. Ric Flair interferes. That's my call. I think Flair interferes and Charlotte retains.
Well, they've been doing that finish an awful lot lately. What I think is going to happen is Flair is going to interfere too soon, and then he's going to get sent to the back, and he will be a non-factor. Okay. I'm calling Sasha Banks in this match. I'm going to say Becky or Charlotte is going to get the better of Becky or Charlotte, and then Sasha's going to swoop in and hit the Banks statement and get the tap out. They might get it on Becky, I think. I feel like Becky takes the fall no matter what. A Charlotte retention wouldn't be out of the question. But these are three of the best women wrestlers on the planet. Charlotte is Ric Flair's daughter. She has only been doing this for 4 years, and she's absolutely phenomenal in the ring, and what an athlete. Becky is just a tough fucking performer. I've seen some of her shit from Ireland and all over the world, been traveling since she was 15. Sasha Banks, she's a big star in the making. If Sasha Banks was on the male side of the roster, next year she would be main eventing WrestleMania. She's got that much talent. Talk about a good promo. Sasha Banks is a character that I can believe. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the first women's wrestling match in 10 WrestleManias that has real stakes and real meaning. And I've seen these guys tear it down in NXT. This should be a 20-minute match, and no matter what, it should be spectacular, and it's going to take women's wrestling to the next level, is my prediction.
Yeah, I think so too. Either way, it's going to be a fantastic match. Do you think we're going to see Bayley?
I don't think so, because she's got the big match on NXT TakeOver on Friday defending her title. the people that don't know Bailey don't need to know her yet, because when she comes in, she's going to be the female John Cena.
Okay.
Make book on it.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen.
Well, just they're in NXT. They were the 4 horsewomen
Yeah.
of NXT, and the 3 of them are in a triple threat. I just thought maybe Bailey comes down and says, "Come on, guys, don't fight. Let's team up."
If Bailey drops the title on Friday, you'll see that happening on Raw. Like 2 years ago, AJ Lee, and this one kind of had some meaning, but it was more or less, let's get everybody out there. They said, you have to defend your title against 11 people at once. First fall is the winner, and she won. She had to be in that match because she ran afoul of the authority character Vicky Guerrero at the time. The following night, Paige made her debut and beat her promptly for the title with no build-up. So it's been a couple years. They could do that. I don't think Bailey would win the title, but I think that they need to get Becky out of the picture and into a feud with someone else. Focus on Charlotte and Sasha before they bring Bailey in. I could see SummerSlam for Bailey to come in because that lady is just such a hard worker, great performer, great talent, and the kids are just going to go nuts when Bailey comes to the main roster if they haven't seen her.
Yeah. Agreed. All right. Next is probably Undertaker and Shane.
Yeah, that'll be next. Hell in a Cell, ladies and gentlemen. 4 steel walls and a roof. The Devil's Playground. Careers have been shortened. Legends have been forever emblazoned in the pantheon of the immortals. In Hell in a Cell.
It's true. Foley falling off that cage.
Oh, God.
Unbelievable.
With God as my witness, I'm not going to do a piss poor JR impression. I'm going to upset your dog, but with God as my witness, he is broken in half. And if you haven't seen it, ladies and gentlemen, King of the Ring 1998, Undertaker versus Mankind, Hell in a Cell. Watch it. Human demolition at its finest.
Do it. Watch it.
Watch it.
Pause this and go YouTube that.
I'm going to say this. That is a tooth in his nose. And when you see it, you'll know.
Yeah. It's gross.
So we got Shane O'Mac and Undertaker in the cell. This was supposed to be John Cena and the Undertaker. So what? That's about it. Shane O'Mac is a great performer. They're gonna see some crazy shit in this match. There are 3 matches on this card. You are going to see crazy shit, and this is one of them. It's gonna be a real. I'm gonna say it's gonna look more like an MMA fight meets a car wreck. I'm making the call because Shane is fighting for control of the company, and Undertaker will never get to perform at WrestleMania again. WrestleMania is his yard. Hell in a Cell is his playground. So smart money's on Taker, but I'm going to go off the wall. I'm going to say Taker beats the fuck out of Shane to prove a point. But then to prove another point that he's Vince's bitch, rather, he's going to pull Shane on top of him and give Shane control of the company, at which point Shane can go in a neck brace and on crutches. So you're wrestling next year at Mania. Fuck you, Vince. That's my call for that match. And spectacular violence. And you've never seen a millionaire put his life on the line like Shane McMahon. Highlights, YouTube. Look him up.
Yeah, there's a good montage because I did look it up. He just recently came back, and all I could keep repeating was, "Oh man, that guy used to jump off the craziest shit." And then on Raw, he jumped from the top rope out down onto the announce table to prove that he can still jump off some crazy shit. So without a doubt, he will jump off crazy shit.
He's coming off the cell
at WrestleMania for sure. So if for nothing else, than to see a man throw his own body off a cell.
I implore anyone not looking forward to this match to find Kurt Angle versus Shane McMahon from King of the Ring 2001, one of the bloodiest matches in wrestling history.
Is that where he goes through the plate glass?
That's the plate glass match. And it takes so many attempts because Kurt fails to get him through, eventually just pitches him head first by the back of his head at Shane's insistence. Just an orgy of violence that I don't get tired of 15 years later.
Yeah, I don't disagree with your call for that match. Shane's winning somehow because the stakes are what the stakes are, and it's wrestling at the end of the day. When it looks too good for somebody, it typically is. So on to the main event, which, I don't know, it's the title, so it's the main event, but
Shane and Taker could main event. If it was Taker and Cena, it would be for sure. But this is, you're right, this is likely the main event.
Ladies and gentlemen, a haiku that sums up why we're both hesitant to discuss this. Hunter Hearst Helmsley, WWE's fill-in champion. I feel like they did everything they could to jam Roman Reigns down our throats, and the last bit of hope fell on Triple H and Vince himself to put this guy over.
Yeah.
And what my prediction is, and it's bold and it'll probably never happen, it's maybe more what I would like to see.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see Hunter maybe kicking the hell out of Roman, and maybe there's some interference, maybe Stephanie, I don't know. And that's when we see The Rock, and then Roman wins, and then somehow turns on The Rock and goes heel, because right now the way people hate that guy, it seems like a waste to not have him flip and just ride the backwards momentum the other way.
Yeah, he doesn't have the marketability of a John Cena yet, so turning
he's
him
not that guy.
Turning
he
him
says
heel.
all the right things, and this is what bothers me: is that he says all the things you're supposed to say to be the good guy, but it doesn't hit. Like,
we talked about insincerity.
Yeah,
we talked about insincerity earlier, and this is the thing. If Roman Reigns went out there and talked like how Roman Reigns, the man behind the Kevlar, is if he would talk how he actually is, he would probably get over. But the fans are wise to what the WWE likes to do. They know that in the past, wrestling is predicated on making money, ladies and gentlemen. The promoter will go, really? You like him? All right, I got to set up a situation so that I can draw as much money out of this talent as possible with as many counterparts, be they good or bad, as possible. And then we're going to flip the switch and turn you the other way and draw with the other side. And we'll see how well that goes. But the audience will dictate to you who is the star of the show. What's happening now is they're trying to say, well, he's the star. And no, he's not. He could be if you didn't try to jam him down people's throats. I think if they'd allowed a little more organic progression, if they didn't try to... It's overproduced. Overproduction and insincerity in art kill the fucking shit. And they are trying to do what they know how to do, but within the means of a corporate environment, and it's not fucking working. People smell a phony. And that's why Roman's not working out as a babyface. He is a hard-working guy. He is I am entertained by his matches. I thought him and Brock had a great fucking match last year at WrestleMania. The moment where Seth Rollins cashed in, that was fucking one of the top 10 WrestleMania moments ever, in my opinion. Roman is an incredible athlete. He's a 6'4", 265-pound man who can just take a flying leap a good 5 feet over the top rope to the floor. Doesn't give a shit. If he's hitting you, he looks believable. His work is solid. He's a monster. But they're asking him to be something he's not. That said, he's winning the belt. He's getting the fucking belt.
He's definitely getting the belt.
There's no money in the bank to cash in. I don't feel like your prediction is that far out of whack, because if I wanted to make somebody... Like, people hate you, like, go away heat, but if I want nuclear heat, I want them on you. I will pay to see you get your fucking ass kicked. The Rock is probably the right guy to turn on, because he's an institution now. He's beloved.
Yeah.
And especially when everyone knows their family, like, that'd be a great angle. You see all this stuff that we're touching on, ladies and gentlemen? These are storytelling elements you'll see in everything from Game of Thrones to Walking Dead to your sitcom with any kind of continuity, and that's what wrestling is a story. WWE likes to tell a story like a TV show would, with a cast of characters in different conflicts, like a soap opera, for the lack of a better term. Whereas real professional wrestling is kind of the same thing with the lack of production. It's grittier, it's more violent, it's more oriented in sport than show. And when you can do that, when you can master that, then you can go into the television product and make it that much better. Because there's not enough of A, B suffers. And that's where the art of wrestling and the poetry of wrestling is you are the conductor and the audience is your orchestra. You do it as a performer yourself. I've seen you. You're pulling the puppet strings. I've been fortunate enough to be in the ring and pull the strings of a crowd. I have been threatened with rape. I have been threatened with rape at ringside for antagonizing people the right way. I have been taught by really, really, really good, smart, bad guy wrestlers, big shout out to Stunner and Custom, the Hollywood hunks, how to do this. And those guys, they could just incite a crowd to love them or want to take their heads off, depending on what mood they felt like. They were fantastic. And when you can do that as a performer without someone shoving a script in your face, then you got it. And I'm lucky enough to have had a few of those moments. But the real talents in wrestling are the guys who can pull your heartstrings, like an Andre the Giant, a Dusty Rhodes, a Roddy Piper. They got some real good guys, but they just need to take that extra step.
And injuries
Oh, God.
I saw
Oh,
Luke Harper
God.
now is
And Neville.
hurt.
And
Neville,
Neville.
too.
Yeah, rolled his ankle. You got 4 upper mid-card guys and 2 of the biggest main eventers ever out at the biggest show of all time. It's fucking sad.
And in classic Plodcast fashion, we limp into the barn on sad news and injuries.
Jeez, you're gonna have to edit this motherfucker.
I'll probably have to cut it down.
You asked me what time it was, and I went ahead and told you how to build the fucking watch. So
we'll figure it out.
well, thank you very much for having me, sir.
No
This
problem.
is the
Thank
sound
you
of
for
us
being-
shaking hands live on the
The
podcast.
hearty, firm handshake.
You got anything to plug? You need to plug shit. I feel like you need to plug
No,
more.
I got nothing right now. I'm focused on nationals,
Oh yeah,
which
plug
is
that.
next month. There's no We Flip tables next month because everyone's going to be in Vancouver. So no, not really anything to plug.
Is there any kind of web broadcast that they can see live or later of this event? Is there anything showing it somewhere?
There's going to be a live feed. Well, every year there's a live feed, so I would assume this year there'll be a live feed. So I'll update that. Next month next month. It's not April yet. Is National Poetry Month. Sometimes people try and write a poem a day for 30 days.
Oh,
What I'm going to do is smash 30 poems into the podcast, and we're going to bang that shit out proper.
Oh wow.
And then I'm going to take 2 weeks off while I prep for nationals, and you're going to have to get your poetry fix somewhere else. It's devastating.
Do you have any
but-
recommendations? I know you're a Shel Silverstein guy.
Yeah, go read Shel Silverstein.
Robert Frost,
You could read Robert Frost.
Edgar Allan Poe, perhaps.
Yeah, Edgar Allan. It's my boy. Yeah, do that. Read some Lovecraft. Learn about Cthulhu because you're going to want to know about him.
You know what? I just had a thought. I know we've run long already. I want you, the P.O. Easy,
Okay.
the beast
Okay.
of slam poetry. I want you to cut a promo on the national championships. Tell these motherfuckers that might be listening live on tape on the Brown Cloud what they can expect when you storm into Van City to take that fucking title. Tell them.
Like right now.
Right now. Right now.
I'm gonna come there on a plane. I'm gonna situate myself at the hotel, and I'm gonna rest. And I'm gonna wake up, and I'm gonna be fed. I'll be fed, and I'll be proper, just like at home, and I'll be ready. I'll be running my poems as I walk by the bridge. No, that was Saskatoon where there was a bridge. There'll be a bridge. I'll find a bridge, and I'll go under it, and I'll read my poems at no one like a troll, like a common troll. And then when it comes time for the competition, I will rain fire down on everyone, and it'll spout from my mouth like a sprinkler in the summertime. And you won't even know what's happening. You won't even have the common sense to pay attention. That's what'll happen in Vancouver. So be ready.
This man needs a fuel surcharge because he's going to be flying all over your heads. Vancouver, make book on it. POE, your next national champion.
I kept my promo quiet because my poetry is very loud and aggressive. So by doing a quieter promo, I might seem insane.
Oh, I like how it works. Do you need a mouthpiece? Talk to my agent.
A mouthpiece?
Yeah.
Like someone.
Oh, Jesus, do I have to wise you up?
Like a Jimmy Hart
Yeah.
type character. The slam community should start having. You know what? Autumn is my valet.
Get Ricardo to be your
sometimes.
Ricardo. Get Autumn to be your Ricardo Rodriguez.
That's terrible.
No, come on. Or your road dog. I don't know. Whatever you want.
Go down. Yeah, slam poets should have managers, lippy managers.
Yeah,
I think that'd
especially
be great.
The more gimmicky the managers.
Yeah.
Because I met some of these dudes and it's like, hey, how you going? My name's Fred. And then they just turn on like whatever the fuck ethnicity they're spouting the poem about. I don't even know. They just turn it up. But that's what you got to do as a performer. You know, you find that thing within you and you turn it up and make it believable. Because if you never talk to that guy, you think he just got off the fucking plane to compete.
Yeah. And then you talk to him.
Yeah, and then you talk to him and realize he's going home to play fucking Madden.
And then you have to cut this whole part of the podcast because it's racist.
Well, we said we were making a blooper reel.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps it up for this podcast. Listen to the other podcasts if you haven't already. Follow me on Twitter at Pojob, Poejob. Stay tuned. Roughly 2 weeks from now, we're going to do National Poetry Month right quick, and we're going to talk nationals, and it's going to be fun. Thanks for listening. Cheers.
that for sure is an hour show.
Yeah, for